They made like a complete remake of the first Pokemon movie and put it on Netflix. I was thinking about watching it, but I couldn't bring myself to do it, man.
Welcome to the Everyone's a Critic movie review podcast. I'm your co-host, Bob Zerl. With me, as always, is professional film critic Sean Patrick. And joining us this week is Zach Covemaker.
What's up?
Visit us at ihatecritics.net, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our handle is CriticsPod. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Alexa, Spotify, Stitcher, all your podcatchers. Subscribe to the show, rate and review the show. It really helps us out. And then Patreon, ihatecritics.net/Patreon, the best way to help support the podcast, along with our podcast merch tab on our website. All right. Trailers this week. We'll jump right into it.
Sure.
Candyman.
Yes, directed by Nia DaCosta, produced by Jordan Peele, although it's fair to be a little bit confused. They do play up the Jordan Peele connection in the trailer pretty big.
He looks like he might have hung out on set a little bit.
Well, the look of the movie definitely has like reminiscences of Get Out and Us for sure. That does not to take anything away from Nia DaCosta. I've not seen much of her work, but the visual look of the trailer does have callbacks, it would seem, to his visual style. But this is her direction and her movie that he produced, and it's a remake or a sequel to, I guess, of the Candyman movies. I'm not sure. I honestly don't know where this falls, if this is canon or if this is a new take.
I've heard both ways. Like, I've heard that it's like a continuation of it, but I've also heard that it's just like them just hitting refresh. I couldn't tell you, though.
Yeah, you can't tell by the trailer. It looks almost like a sequel in the trailer, like we brought it back, but it doesn't mean anything.
Right, and I don't think Tony Todd is in this, the original Candyman. But the story is that an artist has moved into a new place and is rediscovering the legend of the Candyman. And how many times have I said that now?
I think Tony Todd does have a cameo.
He does?
Yeah.
Apparently, from the trailer gives me the impression that this artist becomes like infected or taken over by the Candyman legend and becomes him and begins to spit bees and hook people.
He's living the dream, bud.
This at least looks a lot better than the Child's Play remake. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it looks
that's a low bar, but still.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think I've ever seen the original Candyman. I mean, I'm aware of it, obviously, because it was a big hit, but it wasn't that great, was it? I mean, I know it's a neat idea, but
I honestly don't. It's one of those ones that's like feels like the third tier of
slasher movies.
Yeah, of Freddy and all those guys.
Right, and but it shows you that if you take something serious, you can at least make it look good. So. I don't know. We'll see when it comes out.
They made a few of these, right?
I think so. I remember seeing at least one or two on AMC at some point. I just don't...
I really liked the tagline to one of them, "Farewell to the Flesh." That was kind of cool.
I remember when Candyman 2 came out, though, there was a big... people were upset because of the OJ thing. They thought they were capitalizing off of that, and Tony Todd was like, "It's Candyman 2. It's not... We didn't get this idea from OJ.
OJ stole this from us."
Right. But I mean, I'll probably go see it. That's how they did a good enough job on the trailer to get me that far. So that's all you can really ask for.
Loved the creepy turn of Destiny's Child.
Yeah,
that was kind of nice.
Yeah, that's where I got that Jordan Peele connection, because he's been pretty good on like slipping in like R&B songs and kind of almost making them creepy. I was into that.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anything else before we get to our regular episode?
Nothing I can think of. Nothing really rushes to mind.
All right, then we'll hold off on the number one movie of the year because our classic ties into that. We'll start with Seberg.
Seberg is the story of Jean Seberg, the actress, who is from Marshalltown, Iowa, which is not all that far from where I grew up, and Basically, the idea here is that we're picking up her story as she's returning to America after having been a huge star in France, where she was Godard's muse for a time and was the star of Breathless, became an international star, and she made a lot of money doing that. And with that, she was always a person who really hated having money and really felt bad that other people didn't have what she had, which I think is a very admirable quality on her part. And she set about trying to help people. And some of the people that she tried to help were, among them were the Black Panthers. She actually kind of fell in love with one of them and began an affair with them while she was already married. And this led to the FBI getting involved in her life in a very major way. Nixon, she was on Nixon's enemies list. She was investigated by Hoover. Hoover specifically was getting reports about Jean Seberg's activities, helping the Black Panthers, and he hated them and he wanted them taken down. And to get to them, he used her and basically destroyed her life until in 1979 she took her own life. Horrifically, by the way. She wasn't found for 10 days.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, but that's not in this movie. This movie ends before that, but covers a great deal of tragedy. For one thing, she lost a baby after having been... The FBI spread rumors that the baby was that of one of the Black Panthers. And it wasn't, but it was something that got her blacklisted in Hollywood. It made many of her friends departed from her because of that, and it just caused her horrific pain. The media was all over her, to the point where she actually had an open casket funeral for her baby, just as a middle finger to everybody who's saying, that this Black Panther guy had knocked her up out of wedlock. Which, granted, she was cheating on her husband, but still,
Right.
she was just upset that they were using that against her. Yeah. So this is a really well-acted movie. And Kristen Stewart is phenomenal, and the cinematography is great. The story is a little bit meandering, and there's no real... it doesn't really pull the political side of it together very well. It's a very stagey production, and that really doesn't come together overall as a great movie. It's a nice piece of polemic in many ways, and it's definitely sad, and Kristen Stewart's great. I don't think the movie as a whole is fantastic, and I think a lot of it has to do with the director who's a first-time director who really doesn't know the medium as well as he does the stage, and so that's why it comes off a little bit more stagey. He does have a great cinematographer who makes the movie look fantastic, but again, he doesn't have the story momentum to get to where he wants to go or underline the point that he wants to make.
I mean, I know it's a smaller movie, so this might be a dumb question, but do you see the interference of a studio or a distribution company saying, well, let's not go there, let's kind of keep this out, or not really? Not
really. It's Amazon. Not that Amazon's a great company to make movies for, but they tend to be. They have so much money to work with.
I don't know how. Do they buy it after it's been out, or do they make it?
I don't know. I think they financed it, but I'm not sure. But yeah, they don't really get too involved. They let their filmmakers pretty well go and do what they do, kind of like Netflix does, and
sometimes for the worst.
Yeah, just this time, they have a filmmaker who thinks he has a pretty strong vision, and that strong vision isn't quite there. It's he doesn't really know what point he wants to make in the end. Other than this was sad.
It sounds sad.
I mean, that's a good point. Sorry, I'm just wanting to see how it did on Rotten Tomatoes.
38% on Rotten Tomatoes. It didn't do very well, but
not good.
But I would urge everybody to check out Stephanie Zakarik's review in Time magazine back in August, which really, I think, captures more of what she likes a lot more than I do, but it really captures the better parts of this movie.
Honestly, it sounds like something I might skip on Amazon. Something I'm going to pass over while I go to watch Fast and Furious 8.
I mean, it sounded fascinating until you said it was bad. I mean, I would like to watch it. I really like Kristen Stewart. When she does these small movies, she's usually pretty good in them. They're not always great movies. So I want to be able to support that, but at the same time, if it's not a good movie, I almost want to watch a documentary where Kristen Stewart plays her in the documentary, if that makes any sense.
I just hate the way that people treat Kristen Stewart. She's such an amazing actress, and it's just really unfair. That everybody's still people are just still angry about Twilight for some reason. Get over Twilight. Forget about Twilight. Okay, she did Twilight. Forget it now. It's over with. She's doing far more interesting things. And yeah, Charlie Ace Angels wasn't good, but she was actually pretty good in it. She had some ideas. Underwater's actually a good movie. This is her at least is very good in this, and she's always good in everything that she does. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get her in the right movie, man, she's great. Like I saw Adventureland for the first time a couple weeks ago,
That
which
movie's awesome.
I don't know how I skipped out on that, but that I was pleasantly surprised that whole time. That was a good ass movie.
Yeah.
And she was great. Like she kind of works. Like if you get the right role and you get the right movie, she can like shine. But you just throw her into whatever the hell and just give her like, oh, it's just the Twilight girl. Give her Twilight lines. Like you're not gonna get that fucking quality out of her.
Well, it's not like she's a problem in Twilight either. Twilight's just dumb.
Right.
That whole series is terrible.
And the problem is and a lot of the problem is that she's just not particularly interested in what's happening there. She's functional in that movie, and that comes off. And then everybody sees that and goes, "Well, that's who Kristen Stewart is," and then they bring that to every movie that she's in.
And Robert Pattinson's struggled with that as well, but at least he kind of, he kind of went a similar route where he did the indie stuff for a while. Now he's Batman, so we'll see how that goes. But I don't know.
They're still hating on him on the streets, by the way. Like every time I talk to like friends, I'm actually like genuinely excited for that movie, like the Batman. But everyone's just immediately going, fuck that Team Edward. Like they're just immediately. I'm like, yeah, but watch The Lighthouse. Like, watch this stuff out there. He's way better than that. Like that movie had a lot of problems. There were guys running around in jorts, and they were the hot ones. Like there was a lot of stuff going wrong in those movies, and it wasn't those guys.
I hope they make Batman sparkle.
Oh man, I'd be so down for that.
Oh, just the millions of tears of DC fans just make me. I'll drink them. I drink the tears of DC fans.
I'm in, man. I want them to adapt the whole story where Batman becomes like a vampire and he's going around like trying to kill Dracula. I want that.
They might enjoy that too much.
I'm in, man. This one I want out of DC. I want them to get weird. Like going serious didn't work. Get weird with it, man. That's all I want.
I thought it worked, just nobody liked it. That was my opinion.
Just one more. The Snyder Cut doesn't exist. Just saying.
I don't know if we'll ever see it, but there's parts of it.
He said it does. So whether we ever see it, that's the other question.
Yeah.
Plus, I was talking about Man of Steel, and the first one we liked, not the other ones. And then I watched The Last Thing You Wanted on Netflix, which sounds like it suffers from similar problems. A director doesn't know what they're doing. This movie, like, I don't know who the good guys, the bad guys are. It starts off as like a political thriller, and then ends up being like a drug gun runner. The whole thing, it's convoluted. I was confused. At one point, the bad guy, she's sleeping with the bad guy, Ben Affleck, and I don't know when that turned. There's just no. It's a bad movie. The performances aren't even. They're fine. They're not. Anne Hathaway's kind of bad, largely because she's carrying a cigarette the whole time, and she can't smoke. She doesn't know how to, and she's so focused on that you can't get into the movie. So it's just really bad. So don't go see that movie. On
that
Netflix.
was just like a glass breaking moment for me from that movie she did last January, because she could
video game movie.
Yeah, because she smokes in that, and also it looked very odd. Like she doesn't know what she's doing with a cigarette.
She was trying to act too much with the cigarette, and it was just like, you got to be natural with that, or don't do it. Like Willem Dafoe's in this. He's like the only good thing in it, which surprise. But yeah, I thought this was gonna be way better than it was, and it got really, really boring to the point where I had to go online and be like, am I missing something? And then I started reading reviews, and they just convoluted, really bad direction, and it just skips around. Kind of like the Snowman movie, where just out of all of a sudden things are just like, well, it feels like they just forgot to film this part. So there's a lot of
Speaking of that, there's if you're interested in editing and wanting to know about editing, there's a guy named on YouTube. His channel's called Foldable Human, and he just did "What's Wrong with the Snowman," and it's fantastic. It's really just explains everything that went wrong with that movie.
They forgot to finish making it.
That's part of it.
I can't believe they released that.
I didn't see it. Like, I was actually interested because I heard it was bad, and then like everyone, it was like not even like laughably bad. Like I was like, fuck, I don't want to waste my time.
Well, I mean, take any movie you've ever seen and take out a big chunk of the plot, and then just remove that from the movie and then watch it. That would be terrible.
Well, by the way, we just hired Val Kilmer, and he can't talk. So let's dub every line with somebody who sounds absolutely nothing like Val Kilmer.
Oh shit! No one told me that.
Yeah, Val Kilmer had cancer surgery right before he started the movie.
Oh god!
Could not talk at all.
But they don't even finish his storyline, so it doesn't matter. It's almost like, why is he even in this? Oh, man.
Damn, I kind of need to see it.
No, you don't.
I don't know, man.
It's
Watch
not
the
even
video I mentioned.
Okay, I'll do that.
It's not fun bad. It's just like, well, where did this part? What happened? Fantastic trailer though. The Invisible Man, #1 movie this week.
Yes, starring Elizabeth Moss and Aldous Hodge, and a great cast, and really phenomenal movie. Lee Winnell is the director here, of course, one of the creators of the Saw franchise with James Wan, and just himself a fantastic horror film director in his own right with the Insidious movies, and even that action movie he made last year was fantastic. And this is really great. Just from the first moment, and the first moments of this movie are just insanely good filmmaking, just visual storytelling. You have a woman who's just lying in bed, and there's a man in bed with her. She slips out of bed. It's Elizabeth Moss, and she's just slowly waking her way around the house, gathering her things. She's sneaking out, trying desperately not to wake him up, and just her movement and her face and everything that she does, and these little visual cues about what she's doing, about how she's drugged him to keep him asleep, or she's turning the security camera to make sure that she can get it on her phone to see that he's asleep. All these little touches that they do, all visually, it creates this insane level of tension when you know something going in. And I knew going in because of the trailer and because of reading about the movie that this is about a woman who is living in an abusive relationship, and suddenly, and of course it's about the Invisible Man as well. You don't even know if maybe the Invisible Man might already be in the story when you join it. Mm-hmm. He's not, but you don't know that, and so there's tension everywhere in this scene, and it just grabs hold of you from that first moment, and you just can't, like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Until she gets out in the street, and even then, there's still one more thing coming in that scene that is so cool. Everything about it is so great. They get the abusive boyfriend supposedly kills himself, and she does not believe that. She just refuses to believe it, and it turns out that he's not dead. He's now invisible somehow, and is just torturing her with his invisibility, and it's amazing. It's so tense and exciting and scary, and just incredibly well put together from a visual perspective and from a performance perspective. Elizabeth Moss is amazing in this movie. The way she can create this scare just from her body work, her face, the way she talks, the way she just looks at an empty room, creates him in your mind as much as the movie creates him there. It's so freaking good.
Yeah, man, I don't think I've ever been that stressed out watching a movie. Like that entire time, like you were saying, like the entire movie, you're just on edge. Like you don't know what's gonna happen. There's all this stuff. Like they don't really tell you anything. They show you a lot of stuff, like the pill bottle, and like you'll see like handprints in the background and stuff like that. And this is all just like teasing you the whole time, and you're just it's rough. It's wonderful. It's rough, but oh man, like I went in like I thought this was gonna be fun. I thought this was gonna be not like laughable fun, but I thought I was gonna enjoy it. But I didn't expect to come out of this like fucking texting all my friends and just losing my mind, because this movie literally, like, it blew me away. There's a lot of stuff in there. I've got some questions, like how's my man's peeing and pooping? Like when he's floating around there, like how? Like if you're stalking someone for that long, like what do you do? Like, are you hungry? Do you have like raisins in your pocket? I just want to see like a couple of scenes from his perspective, just to see how he got through his life. Like
that's the thing, though, is that he could be there and not be there as much as he wanted to be, because he was there in her mind all the time. So he could be away from her whatever he needed to be.
I just imagine, like, okay, you're her, you're in your room, you hear a stream of water. You go into the bathroom, there's just a floating, like, penis just peeing right there. Like, that's the whole movie. I just kept thinking about that. Like, what happens if she just wakes up and he's just, like, relieving himself? Like, I don't know. It ruined it for me just a little bit, because I want that. It's like when the Mandalorian showed the first Star Wars toilet, I lost my mind. Again,
you're assuming he's there the whole time. He doesn't have to be there.
I know.
That entire time.
But he's that creepy. In my mind, that's what he's doing.
If the Wayans brothers make another scary movie, they can put that in there.
I'm in. I want that.
I didn't get to see it because of, I don't know, check my Facebook. I've been... family stuff. But I really wanted to, especially when the reviews started coming in and the buzz started going. I wonder if this is one that'll hang around next week for a pretty good, second week.
I really hope so. It deserves it. It's that good. It is just, it's really incredible. Elizabeth Moss is just amazing. She really is. She's the best special effect in the movie, honestly.
Yeah. She turns, like you said earlier, she turns like empty space into like the best character. Like she's that like that fight scene where she's fighting nothing was fantastic. Like that was really, like, she did a great job. I'm happy with her.
So smart too. She does the thing that you would think somebody should do. Like when she's first encountering this thing, she goes into her room and she throws down a bunch of coffee on the floor around her. So if he's going to step on that, I'll see you, and I've got a knife. I'm going to stab you. Like she's thinking these things through logically.
Yeah.
Do they? I mean, I want to see it, so don't spoil it, I guess. But do they go into how it became invisible, or do they?
Yes, yes, and it's actually a logical. There's a very logical reasoning to how he does it.
Yeah, it all makes sense. Like I was saying earlier, there's like nuggets like in the beginning. You'll piece it together, but before they actually like reveal it to you, and by then, it's all believable. It's pretty cool. It's not like the original one where it's just some dude just injected himself with some stuff and then he's invisible. Like they go into better detail. It's pretty cool.
Makes you believe you could really become invisible.
Yeah.
I won't spoil it for
I'm
you.
even more intrigued.
There's a good reason.
It's even more intriguing because you're like, you'll figure it out before he gets to her. And you're just like, how would you figure it out? It's not possible. But it makes it intriguing, though, because clearly there's something there, because I'm totally blind to this whole thing. Yeah, that's cool that it's actually not even just fun, but good.
And it's got a real, resonance to it too, because you're talking about a woman who's essentially being abused emotionally and physically, and it's a perfect metaphor for gaslighting. It's somebody, everybody thinks that she's the crazy one, that she's insane. He's dead. Everybody keeps telling her he's dead. You're doing this. There's a scene where she's staying with her friend Aldous Hodge and his daughter Storm Reed. And Storm Reed gets slapped in the face hard, and everybody just assumes it's her, even though she was not even really all that close to her. They can't reason that there's an invisible person in the room. They think she did it. They were the only two people in the room, and her dad comes in and goes, "You hit my daughter. Get out of here." Like he's mad at her because he thinks you hit my daughter, when it really was the invisible man just trying to get her away from her support system like an abuser would do.
Yeah, there's like a kind of overarching theme of like victim blaming and stuff, and I was into that. Like I kind of got that vibe from the trailer, so I kind of knew what they were going, or how they were going, but man, like I enjoyed it. It was better than like the typical like, oh, ex-boyfriend hates me, he's gonna try to kill me movie that we've seen a million times. Like it was that nice little treat.
And even as I was sitting there, like going, "Why is this guy going to this length?" Like they even go to the detail of explaining what it is that it. You know, she asks that question. She asks that literal question. You're like, "Oh yeah, thank you for that." like, it's so good. You've thought of everything, Lee Winnell.
There's so much that could have made this go wrong, too. I mean, just the idea of an Invisible Man movie in 2020 is...
Yeah, well, I mean, Hollow Man. There's your... that's
that
everything,
was 20 years ago.
Everything going wrong and trying to make this same movie.
I forgot about that.
Let's do only the creepy shit. What do you think? Great idea.
Yeah, I was reading an article about the whole, like, the multiple attempts at, like, doing the whole dark universe thing, and I read on all the different, like, iterations of the Invisible Man, like, what it was supposed to be, and, like, I know originally, I guess, Johnny Depp was supposed to be the Invisible Man, and then the whole stuff started going on, and I'm so happy he didn't, because I'm glad, because if he was in there, the whole movie would have been about the Invisible Man,
Yeah.
Right.
and not, you would have missed out on this, like,
Yeah, really a smart choice.
Yeah.
Because the Invisible Man, he's an actor that you recognize. He has maybe one scene where you see him, 2 scenes maybe, where you see him physically, and... Yeah, it's great. It's really great that you barely ever even... He's so invisible that you barely even see him as an actor.
Yeah, I mean, you really want Elizabeth Moss to be a star of a movie like this. Otherwise, you're right. It would anybody, whether it's Johnny Depp or whoever, it's just going to be distracting.
yeah. I think I'm going to start The Handmaid's Tale, though. Like, because I like this movie that much that I think I'm going to go start that. Because I know everyone talks about it.
Yeah.
But...
I love her and everything I've seen, but I don't...
You've not seen The Kitchen.
But I'm sure it's not her fault.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just a terrible movie.
Yeah. Well, let's move to the classic.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event for the linear, legitimate, and universally recognized, undisputed classic.
The Invisible Man. Is there any correlation between the two?
Not really. Not really. I mean, just the title and the idea, I guess, is similar, but that film's from the female perspective. That's from the perspective of people who aren't invisible, as opposed to this one, which spends most of its time in Claude Rains' perspective as the Invisible Man. So this is Claude Rains from Casablanca, starring here as the Invisible Man, who's wrapped in bandages, and he is invisible from the moment we meet him in this movie. He shows up at this small town in the middle of the night at a bar slash hotel. They've got a hotel. There's a room, basically.
Right.
He needs a room for the night. He's weird. He's wrapped in bandages. He looks strange, and shortly thereafter, we're going to find out he's completely invisible. And there's a little bit of exposition from somebody telling us kind of this person went missing, and he's working on this strange experiment. And it turns out that the character Griffin, Jack Griffin, has turned himself invisible and is now desperately trying to figure out a way to turn himself back visible. But he's used this particular type of compound that is also slowly driving him insane. And the more insane he gets, the more stuff he tries to do as an invisible man, which is just terrorizing people to the point where then he commits murder. And this happens very early in the movie. I was surprised. I always thought that thing of him unwrapping his head and showing it out, I always thought that came later in the movie. No, that's right. That's the end of the first act is him taking off the bandages and showing everybody I'm invisible. And just going completely batshit crazy, running around town, riding a bike, throwing people's hats, murdering people.
Literally, like, only wearing, like, a dress shirt at one point, just dancing like a dress shirt, just going...
Laughing.
It's awesomely creepy, though.
Oh, yeah.
And I gotta say, I mean, James Whale, 1933, better special effects than a lot of the movies we watch today. I mean, that's truly, like, it's really good when you consider, like, it's almost like a Dogma 95 kind of idea of special effects then versus special effects now. Like, could somebody in this day and age make that movie as well as he did? Like, it's really interesting to me. just with his limitations.
Right.
The limitations that he had. Fulton, I think, was the guy who invented the technology, a man named Fulton, and he did an incredible job because you literally believe that there is a pair of pants just dancing down a lane, singing a song, chasing a woman. It's so smart and it's so clever, and like I was talking about with the Invisible Man, they approach it from a very from a logical perspective. Once everybody's agreed, okay, there is an Invisible Man, because that's obviously an insane concept. It takes some time to come around to, but once they do, they start approaching it in a very logical way. Like there's a scene where a group of guys are just carrying a net through a room because they're going to try and maybe catch him if he's in the room. It's clever. They got to make sure he's not there. I get it. That's logical. It's, that's a very smart scene. And I loved that they include that here. And they've got some very smart detectives who are taking this thing very seriously because he's killed a cop.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the whole thing, even the way they catch him at the end, not spoiler alert, is pretty cool and, well thought out. It's a really good movie. I mean, I don't think it holds up just based on it almost looks like it belongs on stage. I mean, it's very an old fashioned yelling to the back of the room kind of thing. But you got to go and approach it knowing what you're getting into. But once you do that, it's definitely a good movie.
Oh, that housewife that just screamed in every scene. Literally, it was like the best part of that movie. Like when her husband just like kind of out of it and he's passed out, she's just screaming at the top of her lungs. Dude, it was hard. I was laughing my ass off.
I was oftentimes asked, "What are you watching?" Between his laugh and her scream, it was.
Yup.
I love Claude Rains' voice.
Oh yeah,
I think that is that voice is so awesome coming out of nowhere. It's just the way he sits down Kemp and lays out what we're going to do. First, we're going to commit some murders, and then we're going to take over the world. Like yeah, okay. Yeah.
You're just on board immediately because he's so authoritative. Like he's great. I loved that. They set up that train track so that way there was a path that went straight off a cliff. Like I love that so much. And he's just like old timey villain, just like ah! And then you just see the train just fly off.
It's funny when you talk about the classic dark universe and you talk about Frankenstein and Dracula and the Mummy. The Invisible Man has the largest kill rate of any of them. He killed more people than any of them.
Easily.
I just hate the idea that they're all in the same universe. I like the idea they're each have their own lane, and I know eventually they start mixing and matching, but
yeah.
I don't know. Are any of those movies good when they start coming into movies together? It's usually the first one that works.
I think really the only the one that brought them together is they were kind of a universe just because they were all made by the same company. Right. The thing that brought them together was a comedy, Abbott and Costello.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily a dark universe, really.
No.
This is the Lee Whannell Invisible Man is not going to be folded, I don't think, into the whole time. I think that's dead.
Oh, that's dead.
I think that's pretty well dead.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing that anymore.
I hope so. I hope they've given up on that.
I still haven't seen The Mummy.
I know. It's really bad.
There was
now, the original Mummy, absolutely.
Oh,
that
yeah,
movie's
yeah.
incredible with Boris Karloff. Mm-hmm. That movie was like a revelation on this show. I'm still in love with that film. We're watching it here as a classic. And this one ranks right there with it for me. I loved this.
Just below the Brendan Fraser one.
I adore that movie. Like, seriously, one of my all-time favorite films, The Mummy. And this one is so good. When you think of what he had to do to make that happen, there's a scene where he had to shoot like 4 different things to make it work just because all he wanted to have is the Invisible Man looking in a mirror. And it took 4 mats for him to get that to do the thing that he wanted to, so it looked natural for him to just look in a mirror. The level of detail is awesome.
Yeah, and just thinking 1933 the whole time, or was it 30? Yeah.
Yeah, 33.
It's that alone gives you a different way to watch it today than they did then, because you're just like, how did they do this and make it look so good and look so real? Like, I mean, do you know how they did it? It looked like stop motion at times.
Stop motion, yeah. I'm not sure exactly what the technology is that they use to do it. I know that somehow...
Definitely patience.
Yeah. I know that somehow it got shittier in the sequels. Like in the sequels, you can like see things passing in front of the Invisible Man. Like you can see his gloves or something. Like pass it. Like it's weird. Like there are weird shadows and shit. Like it just got cheaper and badder. And it's like, how did you fuck that up? Like you got it right the first time.
Well,
do it again.
Patience costs money.
Yeah. Oh, James Whale's amazing though. If you've not seen Bride of Frankenstein, you really need to see Bride of Frankenstein. That movie's incredible as well.
Yeah, no, it was an easy watch, and I definitely recommend it. We found it on YouTube. I think it is on Amazon if you want to. I think you can rent it or buy it.
Yeah.
16 chapters on YouTube, but I didn't mind it so much.
No, it flew by, other than the in-between thing that popped up every time.
Oh man, those Geico sequel commercials, man. Ooh.
1990, we had three movies, but two of them I don't know if you know what they're. Decalogue and Rich Girl. I don't know.
I missed those two. Those weren't on my list.
Oh, they're on thenumbers.com. But the main one was The Hunt for Red October.
Yeah, John McTiernan, the director.
Jack Ryan movie.
Yeah, the director of Die Hard, I believe. Is it McTiernan?
I believe so.
Doing the first Jack Ryan adaptation with Alec Baldwin in the role of Jack Ryan. And this movie is really tense and really exciting. And I honestly went into this thinking, like, for having forgotten that this was actually a really good movie. And, like, I forgot how really good it is. McTiernan is so good at these clockwork thrillers where all the pieces have to fit perfectly in order for it to work. And it's a very craftsman level stuff. It's not like great art, but in terms of the craft of making an action thriller, he's insanely good. And this is an insanely good movie. Baldwin is brought in to examine some very important intelligence. He discovers that there's this new class of submarine that can run even more silent than your average submarine and could actually be sitting anywhere they want it to be, almost like an Invisible Man type sub. Like it's that level of great technology. And he figures out through various different means that perhaps the captain of that vessel has gone rogue and may want to defect to the United States. He's the only one who buys into this theory, but everybody's kind of listening to this guy because he's smart and he's intelligent. And there's none of those stupid characters in the movie goes, you're wrong and you're an idiot and we need to stop you and not him. Like, there's nobody who just completely dismisses him, which, thank God, I hate that character. He's just, and there is one that's almost like that on the Connery side, and he kills him right away. Like, just one of the first things he does is murder that arrogant, stupid character. It's so great. By the way, did you pick up the character that plays the Russian intelligence guy who's opposite Connery there? The guy he kills is named Putin.
Really?
Yeah. What a great detail. In 1990, no less. I can't imagine they actually knew that.
No way.
But what an amazing coincidence, because the guy's a KGB agent on the boat. Uh-huh. And, yeah, they name him Putin. And then they kill him.
That's wonderful.
You pointed it out. I had just started the movie when you pointed that out to me.
Oh, yeah?
So yeah, I got to catch it.
I thought that was so cool. I got a real kick out of that. But the whole movie is really smart, really well put together, and there's not one of those dumbass characters who keeps getting in the way of the action and trying to slow down Jack Ryan. And I really loved that. And then Connery actually feels like invested and interested in this role, which is, he's getting to that period of his career where that's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, it's just a few years away from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Well, I mean, he definitely chooses scenery in this movie, but in kind of like a Jack Nicholson fun way.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the one thing I remembered about this movie was him eating and the way he eats in this movie. I mean, I'm sure some people hate it, but I mean, he's acting through his food. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really ridiculous.
But Baldwin is really great in this movie, too. Really,
Best Jack Ryan.
He's a very good Jack Ryan. I got to give him credit, yeah. He really gets what this role is. He's really, he's... I love the way that they kind of use his backstory to sell him as an expert. There's a really clever scene of dialogue where I think it's Thompson. I can't remember the actor's name. His last name is Thompson. He was a presidential candidate. Anyway, he's in the movie as a general.
Oh, okay.
He kind of lays out this other guy's kind of like dismissing Ryan as an expert, and he goes, well, he did this, 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 and this, and all in this time frame. And it's like, oh, okay, we can take this guy seriously then. That was a really clever bit of dialogue and a great way to deliver that information and make it essential and important. And that's what this movie does, is little details that this movie takes very seriously that other movies forget about. So many movies forget to lay in dialogue in a way that isn't just extraneous. Like, so many people would just say that, they would just vomit that backstory out of some other character and it doesn't matter. But it mattered in that moment because he needed to tell this guy, hang on, we need to take him seriously. He's going to be right. I loved that.
Yeah, I'm not a Jack Ryan fan. Like, I hate pretty much every movie involved with, other than this one. This is the only one I like. I don't know if it's because of Harrison Ford or if it's... I mean, I never watched the Ben Affleck one. I obviously haven't watched anything outside of this one and the Harrison Ford ones, but it just does not interest me. But for whatever reason, this one it's really watchable. A little on the long side, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way. Really well-made movie, and God, I got the chance to watch it one last time before I die. I probably won't go back to it, but it was good to go back to it. Unless you start doing 40-year reviews here in 10 years.
I mean, it's very much in the range of a Die Hard movie. It's a Die Hard style of action movie, and this is the director of Die Hard, so that makes sense.
It's almost a little more involved than Die Hard, though. I mean, it is in that.
It's much more intricate, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's as watchable as Die Hard, I think, without as much walking on glass.
Alec Baldwin's playing a lot more straight, whereas Bruce Willis was rather broad and
cool.
Brought a lot of his personality to the character.
Badass who can ride jets.
It makes me wonder why Alec Baldwin didn't get to go on, if it was just because Harrison Ford just started doing it or what. But
I think it was a money dispute, and then Harrison Ford wanted the role, and Harrison Ford was kind of wrong for it, really, because he ages up Jack Ryan in a way that Baldwin.
Right.
They're not all that far apart, I guess, but
Baldwin's got that youth face.
He's a little younger than Harrison Ford was at the time.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, Harrison Ford's a bigger draw, I guess.
Yeah,
but then again, is he? I mean, his characters are.
Yes,
but
then Baldwin, yes, he was at the time because Baldwin sabotaged his own career.
Right, but Harrison Ford's big movies outside of like Air Force One. Or Indiana Jones and Star Wars. I mean, it's not like he didn't carry those. The characters carried those. So I don't know, but yeah, Baldwin could have been a draw if they let him.
If he let himself, he made terrible choices that we're coming up on very soon in this time frame.
Yeah, The Getaway.
The Getaway, Prelude to a Kiss. Ooh, boy. Let me tell you about Prelude to a Kiss for just a moment. It's on the most recent episode of How Did This Get Made? So that should tell you a lot about that movie.
That's how I found out about that movie, actually.
Meg Ryan in the body of an old man and Alec Baldwin trying to figure out if he still loves her.
Ooh. Make that in 2020.
They need to get the dude who made The Invisible Man and see if he can pull it off.
Oh, I'm in.
Just, you made this work, make that work.
Here, Lee, let's just take a bunch of shitty movies and see if you can make them good. Here's Hollow Man.
They should have called this Hollow Man. That would have been even more impressive. Because it's not like The Invisible Man sucked. The original was actually very good. But that is our week of movies. Next week, we've got Emma, Onward, The Way Back, First something?
No, we don't have First Cow
First
anymore.
Cow's not coming?
Doesn't look like it.
It says wide, but okay.
Yeah, I know it does, but I looked at our schedule and it's not there for our anywhere here locally.
That's another one I haven't even heard of.
It's an A24 movie.
Oh, okay.
So it's Kelly Reichardt, who's an amazing director, so I would desperately want to see it, but it's not coming nationwide, I don't
Is
think.
this drama? Is horror? Like, what do we...
I don't know.
A24.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yes.
It's its own genre.
A little bit of dark comedy sprinkled on there. Just
Really fucking good.
I'm in.
That's the genre of A24.
see an animal do some crazy shit that doesn't doesn't make sense.
Our classic is...
It's gonna
Oh,
be
go
that
ahead.
Alcazar Balthazar movie, but it's a cow. It's gonna be amazing.
Oh man, I'm in. I'm 100% in now.
I'm gonna take Josh to it.
Our classic is Clueless. The first time I ever fell asleep in a theater.
For those who don't know, Clueless is a loose remake of Emma.
Oh,
1990, a lot of movies came out. Bad Influence, Body Chemistry, Coupe de Ville, The Handmaid's Tale, House Party, or the one I can't wait to get to. Joe versus the Volcano, The Last of the Finest, and Love at Large.
This is the kind of Tom Hanks you like, right? Is Joe versus the Volcano?
That is the worst of the Tom Hanks I like. But yeah, generally yes.
I've come to really love Joe versus the Volcano over the years, which is so weird because that movie is so baffling to me because it's the director of Doubt. He goes from Joe versus the Volcano, takes like a decade and a half off, and makes Doubt.
I've never seen Joe versus the Volcano.
Was that he just didn't make another movie?
He was working in Broadway, I think. Yeah, Paul Michael Shanley, I believe his name is.
It's like George Miller. Like he made like all the Mad Maxes, and then for whatever fucking reason, Happy Feet. No idea.
Well, you just need to work. I mean, Robert Zemeckis, his first movie was Used Cars, and then he's never made an R movie after that. Which we haven't seen that. That movie is fantastic.
I don't think I have.
Watch it right away,
Might check that
especially if
out.
you know salespeople.
Okay.
Kurt Russell at his best. Never been better. It's right between him being a child actor and an adult. It's kind of, I think it was his first movie.
81.
Yeah, it came out the same weekend as Airplane, and Airplane
wow.
blew up, and this
Yeah.
it kind of fell off to the side, but I like it better than Airplane personally. But,
Okay. I'll have to check that out because I love Airplane.
I mean, it's a different humor.
I know. I'm just saying.
It's more straight ahead as
for a
opposed to
barometer.
slapstick, but it is, I don't know. I know a guy that could really be, I don't know, anyways.
I get you.
Salespeople suck is what I'm getting at. I do want to thank our Patreon supporters before we end the show. On the Key Grip level, we have Charlie Messing and Jason Bryant. At the Craft Services level, Zach Covemaker. At the Character Actor level, Josh and Beth Paul, Christina Cato, and Cousin Jeff. And at our Special Effects level, Corey Finneran. If you want to be a Patreon supporter, ihatecritics.net/Patreon to get yourself a credit on the show. And then also don't forget our podcast merch, and let's play Flick Chart if you guys have time.
Yeah, I'm down.
I normally have it ready to go. God damn it. Every time I type Flickr in and it goes
Where are we
in.
with the shirts? Just out of curiosity, we have the.
I have the designs. I just have to upload them.
Okay.
We're having site issues and I can't get a break at work. It's just been, I don't know. I worked all that morning yesterday, and then I had to go chaperone a stupid dance, and then we had some,
Apparently, somehow Sadie Hawkins is still a thing.
Oh yeah.
Zach, that's how you met Tina? She.
Yep.
She asked you out.
That with a little bit of blackmail.
No, is this? I'm like, I don't know. Here's how the kids dance today. They stand in a circle. The girls are on the inside, the guys on the outside. The girls are facing each other, and the guys are just kind of like hiding their hard-ons in their asses. Like they're not facing each other, the boyfriend and the girlfriend.
Yeah.
And so the girls are looking at each other, just all kind of wiggling back and forth, and it was just weird
Oh yeah.
and awkward. And the music they play, I had to chaperone a couple ones at my wife's other school, way more conservative. Couldn't play this song, couldn't play that song. This school did not give a shit, didn't care about the dress code. It was awkward, and I just wanted to go home the entire time.
Yeah, but I went to Moline, and our dances, it was like a 3 hours just grinding.
Okay.
Just grinding, and then like my fat ass hanging out with the other kids with like suspenders, just kind of like, we look cool for once. Like it was just always, it was weird. Like they played whatever they want. I remember I remember this is the most bizarre thing. I think it was 7th grade. We had like this little dance thing, and everyone's in like hula shirts, and then all of a sudden, "Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy" starts playing, and everyone's just going like losing their shit. And I'm just standing there, just like, all right. Someone's getting pregnant tonight. Like, this is weird.
Yeah, it was like they were losing their shit as if the artist was there on stage. I'm like, it's a fat old man behind who's overly into this, awkwardly so.
Oh,
And
God.
it was.
That sounds awful.
Before that, I had to decorate, and the lift to hang stuff in the rafters was gone. So they found this 10-foot ladder, and me being the 6'2" guy, that's about 16 feet. I'm literally climbing to the second to last rung, hanging onto the rafter, tying this fish string together.
No.
Nothing holding me on.
Oh, God, no.
Shit.
Like 20 times, to hang up these stupid decorations. It never got less scary.
Sadie Hawkins is not worth
And then
it.
every time I touched the rafter, I got one of those static shocks
Oh,
you get on
God.
occasion.
Oh, God.
It sucked.
So needless to say, those decorations are still there today.
You need a drone.
No, I did cut them down, but it was very I'm not untying these. Cut. I'm only climbing up 75% of the ladder, reaching as lowest as I have to, and yeah. So that's why I didn't see The Invisible Man. So it would have been almost good if it was bad. So now it makes it even worse.
Yeah.
It's a Wonderful Life, Heathers.
Oh, gosh. It's a Wonderful Life is wonderful, but I love Heathers, so Heathers for me.
I get crap for this all the time. I still haven't seen Heathers, so I'll go It's a Wonderful Life, even though I don't really like that movie all that much.
I'll go Heathers. Like, to me, It's a Wonderful Life. As good as it is, it's the worst Jimmy Stewart movie.
Right? He does so much better work in other things.
The Fly, 1986, The Hangover Part 2.
The Hangover Part 2 for me.
Yeah, The Hangover.
Sure. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Hollow Man.
Your computer is listening to us. This is creepy. Pee-wee.
I'm all about Pee-wee.
I'm not about the Hollow Man. Flight Plan, Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo.
Yeah, Finding Nemo.
Toy Story 3. God damn it, Larry the Cable Guy, Health Inspector. Toy Story 3, Resident Evil, Extinction.
Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3.
Larry the Cable Guy does not get to be part of this. Skyfall, The Day After Tomorrow.
Oh, that is mean. That is mean. Those are both shitty movies.
I love Skyfall.
I hate Skyfall.
The Day After Tomorrow is so bad,
It's
though.
so awful, though. It actually literally sets back the fight against climate change. That movie is so bad. Skyfall.
Dune, The Next Karate Kid.
Dune.
Oh, dude. That's funny.
Final Destination, Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian.
The Final Destination.
Yeah, Final Destination. What the hell? It's like they're going through my voodoo and they're just picking like polar opposites.
Rat Race, Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's terrible. Oh, that is painful.
It's Rat Race.
Yeah, Rat
It
Race.
is Rat Race, yeah. They're both shitty, but that one's less shitty than Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
mind.
Excuse
Rat
me,
Race.
does Star Trek the motion picture end with Smash Mouth? No, it doesn't.
All right, I might have to go Star Trek.
Star Trek Into the Darkness, Dumb and Dumber Erwin, Harry
Yes,
Met Lois.
Into the Darkness is a good
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
I'll
it's great.
totally go with that.
I don't like how much hate that movie gets.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Any Given Sunday, The Shawshank Redemption.
Any Given Sunday for me.
Go Shawshank.
Fuck Shawshank.
Any Given Sunday for me, too. And I feel like a dick. Shutter Island, Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Only because I predicted the ending of Shutter Island 6 months before it came out.
Die Hard's the
I
shit.
predicted it the year before it came out. As soon as I saw the trailer, everybody knew Leo was the guy.
I predicted that I wasn't going to watch it. And I didn't until way later.
It's better on second and third viewings once you lose the twist. 'cause
Yeah. It's one I've seen on FX a couple of times. It's like, oh, I lost the remote, whatever.
Hugo the Jerk.
Ooh, those are two good movies. Because I would watch The Jerk at any moment. I'll go with that one.
I'll go with The Jerk.
Yeah.
There's not a week that goes by that it just he hates these cans. Stay away from the cans. I don't know why. It'll just pop into my head.
This could upset Josh. Aliens, Death Proof.
Aliens.
Death Proof all the way.
It's Death Proof for me too.
I need to go back and rewatch that because I think I've only seen it. I saw it like a part of Grindhouse, and I think like once when I got it on Blu-ray.
That'll
I need to
affect
watch
you
it
poorly
again.
when you see it with the other shitty movie, Planet Terror. That movie
I love
ruins
Planet
everything.
Terror. I love
that
Planet
touches
Terror,
it.
I love
though.
Planet Terror.
I thought Planet Terror was great.
Hate
I mean-
Planet Terror.
But what you hate about it was, do you mean he tried to make a movie Sean hated? That's literally what he was going
It
for,
worked.
and he accomplished it. I don't really care for the second half of Death Proof, but the first half is so strong.
I love. Yeah, the whole thing works for me.
It's one that I want to go back to because I've been talking about Tarantino a lot more with my friends lately, and I always get shit on for how much I don't like Death Proof. So I think I got to go back on that.
I just love the fact that here he is trying his damnedest to make a bad movie and he can't do it. He's just incapable of being bad.
Yeah. And quite frankly, I mean, Aliens is well made and all that, but it doesn't hold up. It's goofy, and it's just
I love it.
It's only fun. Nothing more.
Yeah.
I found a steelbook set of every single Alien movie. I was so happy. That was a good weekend. I skipped Prometheus because I'm not into that movie, but yeah, that was a great time.
When you said Alien Steelbook, you just gave Josh a boner.
Oh, hell yeah. Looking out for you, boo. We want to talk about Star Wars because we have some more book details. Palpatine was a clone, apparently.
Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo, Star Trek.
Which one?
09.
Star Trek.
Star Trek Generations, The Deer Hunter.
Deer Hunter.
Yeah, Deer Hunter. Although I never want to watch Deer Hunter again.
Nope.
Let's fast forward an hour. When the movie starts. True Lies, Charlotte's Web, the cartoon from 1973.
True
Let's get
Lies.
rid of that.
True
Hold on.
Lies.
No, True Lies, Joe Dirt.
True Lies.
I gotta go Joe Dirt.
Get out.
I hate.
Out.
Hold on.
Get out.
Let me defend it.
Zach's last show.
It's
like
fine.
Chris Kid Rock. Kid Rock is good.
Yeah. No, it's one of those movies that was on all the time when I was growing up. I understand. I've never seen the second one.
So it's like an
Trust me.
infection. And you've got like a little infection in your brain.
Yeah. It's like it's burned and like that's raised by NASCAR
Stockholm-
fans.
It's
Yeah.
Stockholm syndrome. He's got Joe Dirt Stockholm syndrome, where he's identifying with the kidnapping movie that he watched
Yep.
so many times.
Yep. It's
I mean, in fairness, True Lies sucks.
True Lies isn't good.
not.
No, True Lies isn't good. No, but it's better than Joe Dirt.
I'm just saying, it's something that I'm cursed with now. Like, I'm fat and I like Joe Dirt. Those are the cards I was given.
All right, last one. Which one would you watch? Super Mario Brothers, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Super Mario Brothers because I have a really awful experience with Benjamin Button.
Did you quality control that at the movie theater?
No, that was way before that. I was in high school and I finally got to hang out with this girl I was really crushing on, and halfway through that movie her ex-boyfriend showed up crying,
Oh,
confessing
God.
his love. But he parked behind me, so I had to watch the rest of that fucking movie while those two made out and reconciled.
Oh, that is awkward.
It was a
That
bad
is
time.
weird and awkward.
It was a very bad time. So yeah, that movie can go fuck itself, and I would gladly watch the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Brad Pitt was actually in the worst movie I ever saw on a date as well, which is the Meet
Troy?
Joe Black.
Oh, I love that
I was
movie.
on an awful date, just the absolute worst date, and then that movie goes on for 3 fucking hours, and I'm just so mad the entire time. I just want this thing to end, and it won't fucking end.
This dude showed up when Brad Pitt was still old, so I feel your pain, man. In fact, we had to pause it while they reconciled at first, so it was even longer. that movie can go fuck itself.
So you were saying you like Meet Joe Black?
No, I like the first 5 minutes.